Go ahead.
Welcome to Knightspeed, Season 3, Episode 6. UCF's coming off of bye week. We go into Colorado this week. I am your host, Matt Johnson, with his brother, Mark Johnson.
Hello, everybody.
And today we are going to talk about going into a home game against Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes.
There's
Who won
Sanders.
overtime win. They're 3-1. They come to the bounce house. And I guess we're going to see how they stack up against us. What do you think of Saturday's game against Baylor?
Well, it's either Baylor is that bad of a team or actually Nebraska's that good of a team because I've watched Colorado twice this young season so far. Once
Yeah,
against Nebraska, and they were never really in the game, even though the end of the Nebraska game made it seem like it was closer than it was.
yeah,
And then I watched Saturday night all the way up to the last 2 seconds of regulation, thinking, all right, I'm just gonna watch the last play here, and just not believing what I saw, and
hmm.
sitting up in bed and go, oh my, it
Well,
was.
it's like it was a fumble that was like purposeful.
Well, it was a pure luck. Not talking about overtime. I'm talking the pass from Shadur Sanders to number 10 for Colorado. I don't have their but it was one of those things to where he rolls out left and just chucks it down the field. It wasn't not like a kind of what you usually see on a kind of a Hail Mary of a whole bunch of people standing around a ball and it tips around and someone grabs it.
Yeah,
He just threw it in a line. Like,
yeah.
I'm 45, 50 yards out. I'm just going to throw it as far as I can. And he may have been 55 yards out. And it was no kind of loft. It was just, and then you see number 10 was just going down the sideline. I thought he stepped out, but obviously they didn't call it. Pouring down rain, and right at the last minute, he cuts in and peels it off the turf to send it into overtime. And I was like, I don't know how
Number
big.
10 in question, his name is LeJohntay Wester.
Okay, well, LeJohntay Wester made an amazing catch. I mean, it was an amazing throw. I mean, Shadur Sanders was getting slammed down onto the turf there, and Boulder Stadium. I don't know what they call it nowadays, but it was just it was like uncanny of how lucky that play was.
Yeah,
Obviously, there was some talent there as well, but just pure luck how that happened.
yeah. I
Sanders
don't like
all
luck.
night was just running around and no one's touching him. You guys very elusive, I mean, he's one of the best athletes out on the field all the time, if not the best athlete out there. And that's one thing that we're going to have to be able to get a rush on this guy. We're going to
Yeah,
have,
maybe they used all their luck up this past week.
well, I'm hoping, because we
Yeah,
have to off and supposedly we're all healed up now, but we're going to have to keep him in, keep our lanes on the rush and basically keep him in the pocket and don't give him much time, give him a couple seconds. But I think what we're seeing is,
well, you think about Baylor pretty much bottled him up on the rush. That is,
well,
he did get.
he was able um, sorry for interrupting, but he was able to kind of, scramble out of things sometimes. And that was the big detriment. And that's when he would make a play, you know,
Yeah,
and you got to
they
make sure.
plays. I mean, I really kind of found it just really as a boring game. You know, you got high scoring there at the end. I was just, it seemed like a lot of broken play football.
Well, that's pretty much what Shooter Sanders is the king of the broken play, like Tommy Castellanos is.
Yeah.
He's going to make a play after the called play does it after it breaks down,
Hmm.
and he's great at extending the play and then making something happen to where um the last play in regulation, I guess, was the play because he rolled out that way and then just threw it, when someone's just getting ready to tackle him. So
Yeah.
maybe that was the call play. Maybe that's how they practice it. It was amazing how it happened, but I think Baylor played 59 minutes and 56 seconds or 58 seconds, and then they lost the game. Is
Sometimes that's how it goes.
Yep.
We know Baylor last year, right?
Right. Travis Hunter is every bit as good as he is,
But he's the real deal.
that guy is the real, I mean, he he's not a great receiver. I mean, he runs a good enough route to be out there
Yeah,
type, and he catches it. I mean, he's a really good athlete.
and he's elusive.
Right.
He
But he's
uses open space well. I mean, but you got to remember last weekend against Baylor, he didn't have a touchdown.
okay.
He's held scoreless. So and you think about it,
Well,
Sand.
go ahead. I think he's the better defensive back anyway. Like, I mean, he was really making some plays on defense, like
Yeah,
type of stuff when either the running back would get outside, drive, wrap, and for a loss every time. And he's a big guy for what you think he is. I mean, I thought he was just kind of a small, kind of wiry guy, and he's not.
yeah.
He's a guy playing on Sunday soon.
Well, what worries me about him is he threw for 341 yards,
Yeah.
no interceptions, 2 touchdowns last week, and I don't really look at our pass defense as our strength. Now, it was different. I mean, you look at TCU; they're a passing team. They do pass the ball well, but it was rough. And I'm thinking, are we in for more of the same this week?
Well, I think we did have some bend problems against.
Yeah,
Um, the good thing about this game is it's at home.
yeah,
We might as well go ahead and mention now you're going to have the big, the Fox kind of pregame there. The big Fox, what's it called? Big Fox Saturday, or
the game day. Yeah,
yeah, that'll be there.
hmm
On Saturday to where the game's at 3:30, which is exciting as well. You got this little storm coming through. Hopefully, it'll be out of here by Thursday night.
Well, that's what they're saying. It was a Thursday morning, possibly hits.
Uh-huh. And hopefully out of here by Thursday night.
Yeah, that's
So
brother.
I hope it doesn't really cause any damage anywhere. Hopefully it doesn't hit here either. It's right there, like you said, the armpit of the state,
For the state.
and kind of gets in and through, and quickly downgrades. But
Well, I'm
we'll,
just wondering if it's gonna move slow and be a soaker.
it doesn't look like it's going to be a slow soaker. I mean, what you read when you're looking at the National Hurricane um,
Yeah,
site there, it looks to me like, come Wednesday, it turns into, hurricane. Thursday, it's a major hurricane, which it could just be
yeah,
or, but then after that, Thursday morning, it's hitting the armpit there, and then going through by Thursday night, Friday morning, it's up in Tennessee,
yeah,
which is good,
yeah.
put it out of here. Um, and hopefully that holds true and doesn't sit there and slow down at all, and sit there and decide to get stronger, or
No, I agree.
dump a
That's
bunch of rain everywhere on the state for the next 3-4 days while it's deciding what it's going to do. I want it to kind of get up and out and
mhm.
and go away.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
so we play some football on Saturday
Yeah,
with a big noon kickoff of
I just believe
Fox, as
something
we
like that
call it.
coming this time of year. We're out of August, practically out of
Almost out of September at this point.
like,
And
gosh,
yeah,
good grief.
we got a hurricane, and
Yeah.
you got another one out there, which we'll see what that one does. Maybe that'll just go up and away. But yeah, this is kind of late in the season to be getting a hurricane.
No, I agree. But getting back to the game, you think about it. Shadur Sanders, 25 of 41, so they're a passing team. We can expect they're going to throw pretty much first, run second, and they're going to be pretty much every bit as comparable as TCU.
They don't have much of a running game.
No, I mean they rush the ball. They rush it a lot, but you got to remember Sanders runs it the most.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you take him out of the equation, they run it maybe 20 times.
I thought their defense looked better than what I keep getting kind of billed as. The offensive line is not good.
Yeah,
Shadur Sanders is kind of making things up as he goes because his offensive line just isn't very good.
yeah,
But I keep seeing that the defensive line is horrible as well. And, the so-called experts out there saying that RJ Harvey and, we have quite a stable of backs. They're
yeah.
saying we're going to have 40 yards rushing against them. I'm like, well, if that happens, if we get 400 yards on Saturday, there's no way they're beating us.
Uh-huh.
You know, because we're going to be able to hold. We're going to be able to dictate clock and and everything else. And I think he's that good, but he's going to have to be perfect then. If you give up 400 yards rushing, you got to be perfect.
Yeah. And I guess if you look at Colorado, I mean, not to get started with the defense, but I mean, they had their safety had the most tackles on Saturday.
Never a good sign.
Never a good sign.
Making all the tackles, but
Yeah.
I did see Hunter make a few tackles out on the wing there, and I mean they were good. Tackles.
Well, he had tackles total for the night, so
how many you have?
3. So he was,
I saw 2 of them, I think, and both of them were pretty good tackles there.
yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see how we do, because this is going to be a big time this is going to be the just like that Cincinnati game in 18, to where I think it's going to be a raucous crowd. It's going to be full. I mean, as full as it can get.
No, I agree.
This,
I mean, again, it's kind of like, again, Fox's game day is coming.
Right.
So it should be very well attended. It's going to be very, very rowdy. Our fans do show up for games like this.
The only thing is it's not at 8 o'clock at night. It's going to be at 3:30, which fine. I think our quarterback should be able to handle the hoopla. He's been in a lot of, big time environments. KJ should be just fine.
Oh yeah.
We're going to have to basically do like what we did last time of no turnovers,
and
no penalties.
Yeah.
If we can do that and run the ball, it should just, you've got, who is listening to this, a lot of those guys are sitting there saying that we're going to beat it by double digits. I'm like, well, we'll wait and see.
Who's the team saying this?
Oh, Edgar, not Edgar Thompson. Somebody else that was on Bianchi this morning.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm not going to say you're right either. I just saw those guys win just as emotional game as we did 2 weeks ago, which may not be as you were telling me that there's quite a few things that went wrong with TCU.
Yeah.
It's still good to come back and win a game like that, but
No, I agree. But double-digit win, 1-point win, doesn't matter to me as long as we get the W.
Right.
Doesn't matter to me if we beat them 45-10 or 35-34 like last week or 2 weeks ago. I just want to get out of there with a home win and get on to the rest of the season.
Because the rest of the next week we're in Gainesville for a 7:30 game. It's already been mentioned. It's going to be on the SEC network. So that's just
so it'll be a game
of us and the Gator game, I guess, and just throw it on their SEC network.
Well, that's the best the Gators have is their night crowd.
Yeah, well, I'm saying it's not going to be any kind of national TV game. We're going to the 2 games prior to that were both national TV games, and then we're going to be on the SEC network against the Gators.
Mm-hmm.
So, hopefully.
Yeah, I don't think Florida really has a team. Watched them last week. They don't really have the team that's national ready, if you know what I mean. That defense is.
Well, get into that now. We can get into that now. I mean, I agree. I think Florida. One thing that I saw that Nick Saban said this week on the ABC kind of telecast that they have, which I agree. He was he said basically, and I'm paraphrasing here, because he said since Meyer has left, Florida's had 4 coaches. None of them have worked out.
Yeah.
None of them. So as soon as they get rid of Napier, it'll be 5 coaches. He goes, you're on your 5th coach. He goes, it's not a coaching problem at this point. It's a Florida problem.
Yeah.
Florida, you can't sit there and start always blame the coaches. It's your problem at this point. You're at fault. And you got to sit there and figure that out, that, sooner or later, you're going to either have to stick with the guy through thick and thin and you're paying him anyway.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I think somebody kind of mentioned, because he's like, and he reiterated again, is like, as soon as you fire the coach, the portal opens up just like that quick. So these guys can all leave. And then someone,
And you could have a really like heck a Division II team quick.
well, I think they were also saying, well, maybe we want some of these kids going anyway at that point. I think, I mean, some of the kids who you want to stay, I'm sure you're going to be talking to them at first, but I think Nick Saban was kind of hinting is like, Napier hasn't lost the locker room yet. These
No,
kids are still playing for him. They may not be winning, but they're still playing.
yeah,
Yeah, they're probably not finishing as strong as but Star is somewhat of a younger team, and they are still playing. They're still playing for this guy. So
well, what
why
I
fire him?
the knock that I will say, Mark, is he lost, his not best producing running back, but one of the two. I mean, he kept Johnson, but he lost, it need to his rival, and
Mhm.
then you lost your big defensive end, and he left.
Right.
And again, those are two guys that had a tremendous amount of talent, tremendous amount of experience, and now they're no longer on your team.
Well, why are they leaving? Just because of money?
Or that, or I don't know. I mean, it could be that, or they just don't believe in your program. They don't think you're going anywhere.
I put on the Bills versus the Jaguars, Matt.
Yeah.
It's almost halftime, and the Bills are up 27-3 already.
Wow.
So the Jaguars are going to have that kind of year.
Yeah. Mm-mm-mm.
Okay, back to college talk, but no, I agree. It's a situation to where I think, as Nick Saban says, some of the Gators are gonna have to put up or shut up, because I know Mark Daniels always points out, it's like your program's only as good as the coach you can attract.
Yeah.
When you sit there and you start looking at the last three coaches that they have attracted, none of them are great. Everybody seems to think that they're going to get, Lane Kiffin, which I think is a mistake.
I
But
do too.
everybody seems that Lane Kiffin's going to want to go there when he's already in the top five. Why would you leave where you're at when they're already paying you plenty of money
I agree.
and giving you everything you want just to go to Florida and deal with that problem of the media there, which those guys, the Edgar Thompsons, the Mike Bianchis are the problem.
Yeah.
There's more than just those two, but those guys are all, they sit there and crucify you after every game, especially it's a lot of these guys, especially if you're Lane Kiffin, going, why would I want to deal with that crap? I'm not going to get paid any more at Florida than I would be at,
Well,
Ole
the
Miss.
fans do it also.
Well, yeah. I think
I mean,
the fans are just kind of like that, though. It's you do realize they are paying their money, so
yeah,
if you're not winning, they get to kind of complain.
it's going to make an unhappy fan base. I agree. I get it.
And
But
unfortunately, that's what it is. But when you have, I think when you get the media part of it, I think a lot of it is, the Florida media is just, they're just pretty rough when it comes down to, just filleting this guy after every game.
mhm.
It just, I think as a coach, unless you're from there, I'm not dealing with that. I'm just not going
No,
to deal with that. Not even for the money that, I think they're going to give me, because I'm getting that already where I'm at.
yeah.
So why would I leave here just to go there and deal with that? You know?
Well, and again, yeah, there. You've got the fans are the ones calling for uh Lane Kiffin. Like, and as you just reiterated, why would you want to go there? I wouldn't want to go there, especially now.
Yeah, and I could see them going, okay, who's your second option after Lane Kiffin when he says no? Because
Yeah,
it's got to be a viable option. Who's next? Because when Lane
you
Kiffin goes,
you know,
no, I don't want to deal with that, then what are you getting?
you gonna dust off old Chip Kelly
No.
after he was a failure at UCLA? Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like they're willing to
But
give
he
him.
quit UCLA to go to Ohio State as an offensive coordinator. And, Eric Bieniemy, I think he wound up at UCLA.
Yeah,
And
and the thing is no one's going to want to take your job if they know there's not really any kind of time. Because let's face it, you know as well as I do, Mark, that program needs some time now. I think you're 3 years into a Napier. He needs at least another 2 years, which I'm saying with that quarterback he has, to show any kind of rewards. And again, That's not even saying 2 years from now he's going to even beat Georgia, because right
Well,
now Georgia's worlds ahead of
the
Florida.
one
Right
thing
now.
that Florida has that I think helps UCF is Florida's defensive line or the defense is just awful.
Yeah,
That's one of the worst defenses I've ever seen.
and it's been awful for 5 years.
Well, this year is particularly awful. So I watched Mississippi State is not good. They're not
No,
a good team. I think they had a second string quarterback in there.
yeah,
And they were just ripping off chunks of plays, just running the ball off tackle. It wasn't like they were trying to go outside with it. They were just running it right up the gut. And so when I
yeah.
said, look at that, I go, we're not going to have a problem with that.
No, that plays to our strength. No, I
Yeah.
agree.
And I don't see anybody on the defensive side that really scares me at all for Florida.
No,
Now
their defensive back
I
really
think
is
Lagway is,
still
is
young, but
a question mark.
yeah, he'll
I think
he'll
Mertz is the better quarterback right now. You know
yeah.
what you're getting with Mertz. You know you're going to get at least a solid effort, of being able to move the ball and creating, first downs to the point where you get points.
But you remember though, he played a majority of the game also.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
Lagway getting in what he got in was good for him because he got some playing time. But you don't, I think Mertz is his number one guy.
I don't know. You just go back 10 years, man, and I knew every player on that Gator team. I don't know one player other than Lagway and Mertz. The rest of them, I have no idea who they are.
Well, they lost their receivers also. The one fellow who's now in San Francisco who got assaulted months,
Yeah.
weeks ago, he graduated, and the other guys are now have that had really any kind of experience transferred out.
Gotcha. Well,
Now you got young receivers again, and a young quarterback, and a guy who's got health concerns because he can't stay healthy. He gets injured a lot, and again when he's in there, he really kind of has a ceiling. He's not really
Mertz, you got the concussion after Miami, right?
Yeah,
He missed 2 games or a game and a half.
I think a game and a half.
So he is susceptible now to concussions.
Yeah,
It's easier to get the concussion. We've learned that with Tua.
yeah.
He didn't get hit that hard and seized up, and I mean, that's a whole different conversation with Tua. Of
Mhm.
if you're Miami, I wouldn't put him back out there, but it's a lot of money as well. So
Yeah.
but so Mertz has concussion issues of,
Uh,
you don't know how good he's doing. I mean, I guess he was able to pass the concussion protocol test that he had to take to get back out on the field.
yeah.
I have a feeling if Lagway was that ready. I mean, Lagway is an exciting player. He did, pick up it was kind of a design run for him that he picked up 10, 12 yards. He did a couple times, and it was pretty effortless for him.
Well, he's going to
He
get
will
better.
be better. He will be much better by, this time next year, things like that. When it is his team, he's going to be, and that's another thing. It's like, you got to almost say, look, the days are going to get brighter here at Florida. You got to just give.
And I think the problems there are so much deeper than the coach.
I mean, you
I
made a
think it
good
goes
point.
really to the president, with this stuff.
You made the good point. I don't know if you've ever done it on the show here about Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Like his first 3 years were not good.
His first 3 years, again, he was
His fourth year wasn't that much better either. And they gave that guy 10 years to win a national championship. 10 years. And sometimes when your team is just doing that poorly, you're gonna have to give him some time.
Yeah.
Oh, now again,
And
you're
let's face it,
paying him so
Mullen.
much money. Why are you firing him?
Yeah, Mullen gave him an empty cupboard on defense.
Right.
And those kids now he pretty much had run 75% of them off there so bad.
Yeah, well, everybody has their problems, right?
Yeah. But again, so you're looking to fire a guy when he's, his problems really aren't from his doing. Again, he's trying to, you gave him a burned down house and said, all right, now sell this thing. Well, it's black and ash. There's nothing I can do here. I can rebuild it, but it's going to take me a little time and if you want me to sell it. And that's what he's doing right now. But again, that's a process.
No, I got what you're saying, but I guess the Gator fans, you know, the Gator kind of collective there wanted to see more progress this time, and it's it's unfortunate because I think that you're going to see, you know, that I think Billy probably will get fired, especially if we win, he'll probably get fired then. You
Yeah,
probably have a lot of pissed off people
which
and just fire him
would
then.
be the worst thing they do. They fire him
Right.
after a loss because again,
If we
especially
beat him, yeah, if we beat him, they'll fire him.
if we're now 5-0 and ranked, because I guarantee if we beat Colorado this week, we'll probably be in the top 25.
Okay.
Which again, here you are, you're firing a guy again who came into a place that had all these problems, and you fire him after you lose to an in-state rival who's ranked.
Right. And then you're gonna just you owe them a whole bunch of money. And
Whole
then
bunch of money.
half the kids who are worth anything who are leaving.
Yeah.
They're gone right then. They're not hanging around for the end of the year. They're
No.
probably going and looking for a place to go.
And then what do? You know,
Then you just start to get embarrassed for the rest of the season.
and trust me, they've got people on their schedule that will want to embarrass them.
Well, yeah, and it's not going to get better. It's not going to get any better for Lane Kiffin
No.
if that's who you get. But you know, Lane Kiffin's making what, about 10 million right now out of Ole Miss. So what are you going to pay him? 12, 13 million?
Yeah.
You can't pay him
And-
10.
No, because why would you leave? And
Exactly.
again, you're looking at that, you're saying, I've got my place up here up and running. This place, again, is, as I stated, 5 minutes ago, it's a burned down house.
Florida fans have that you know, that smugness about them, like, oh, anybody who's good can win here. It's like it's not that easy anymore. You know, Florida hasn't really been relevant in years now. And I'm talking, yeah, they went to the SEC championship a few times
But did you ever think they were going to win it?
but I never was, yeah, convinced they were gonna even give a game.
No,
You
yeah.
know? I just thought that they were the kind of the Arkansas of like when Spur used to beat, you know, Arkansas or whoever from the West Side.
Yeah.
Remember back in his run in the 90s, you know,
Yeah.
that's what Florida turned in. It was kind of, you know, very just odd to see that, yeah, Florida's now that team that what used to see Florida beat back in the 90s when Spurrier was there was like, this is just a mere formality to get to the bowl.
Mhm.
And, you know, we'll have to wait and see what happens, but I think you should keep, and to me, if the fans don't want to show up, then don't show up. You know,
Yeah.
fine. But I'd make Billy Donovan coach every game.
I'd make
Every
Napier,
one of 'em.
yeah, Donovan's basketball.
I'm sorry, yeah, not Donovan, but yeah, Napier, I'd make him coach every game.
Oh, without a doubt. And I wouldn't even be talking about firing him. And again, if I'm playing to an empty stadium, heck, somebody will go to that game.
Right.
And again, you're still
You
getting
never
money.
know.
You're still getting money from the conference anyway.
No.
Whether the kids come or they don't come, and again, I would just say is there's so much money on this right now that you're gonna let walk out the door with
Mhm.
virtually no results. That if you fire this guy, as rough as the shape Florida's in now, it's gonna be even worse.
Hey, 26 million right out the door.
Yeah, I mean, you are just
And you're paying whatever staff that he has, you're paying those guys too. Then you're paying for, you know, the new staff, the new head
yeah.
coach.
You are now floating in space with no oxygen.
And then you're paying for the new guy that you probably have to promise him all this money to buy players, because that's what
Yeah.
these guys do now. You just buy players. So you're having to do all of this stuff just to basically make sure that you know, and then you got to make sure that you can convince Lane Kiffin that, oh no, the last 4 guys we had here, those are just anomalies. You're going to get a fair shake.
Yeah.
And you know, Lane
Until
Kiffin,
beat by Tennessee by 30, and then
yeah, if you ever get beat by any of these rivals of ours, and we have quite a few of them.
yeah, and trust me,
You
I
know.
mean, Tennessee they're getting it together.
Tennessee's going to probably embarrass Florida here.
Oh
in
yeah.
2 weeks, you know, yeah, or in 3 weeks. I think they play
It's-
the week after
yeah.
us.
Yeah, it's 3 weeks. So yeah, because I know they play Georgia obviously at Halloween.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, I think they play Tennessee the week after us. And again, you know, Florida has a lot of rivals. and
Hmm.
a lot of spoiled fans that
And I tell you, that what they've done in Tennessee the last heck 15, 20 years here, Mark. These Tennessee fans are going to want they're going to want some retribution.
I casually watched that game Saturday night with them at Oklahoma, and Oklahoma is just awful.
I don't
They're
think they're a team.
I don't know who that number 9 is, but he was god awful. Who played quarterback for?
Yeah,
He was terrible. And to me, it's like Oklahoma. You have yourself to blame for this. You had Dylan Gabriel, and you pretty much made him feel like he wasn't wanted. And I have a feeling if Dylan Gabriel was still there, they would have beaten Tennessee.
yeah.
And it's so this is Oklahoma's fault.
No, I agree.
And
I
not that
agree.
Dylan Gabriel is the savior, but he's 10 times better than either one of those two bums that they have playing quarterback there now. Like that one kid is a 5-star kid who got pulled for number 9 to play.
Yeah,
And the kid's just not making it happen.
yeah.
So
I
he's
mean,
not a 5-star kid, you know. Just to go show what the star, like we always talk about with the star system, that these kids are, you know, you shouldn't be able to give these kids any kind of stars until they play 2 years of college.
stargazing.
Right. And Shooter Sanders is a 5-star kid.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like it or not, he is. He's a good player.
No, he's a good player, but I mean, he's improved from last year.
Yeah. No,
And again, he also
he's
played,
the real deal.
because he's what, a junior now.
Yeah.
He also played,
I thought he was a senior. He's a junior. He might be a junior.
I know he played with his dad at his dad's old school.
That was 1 year, I guess, to or so he's played.
Yeah, so he's got plenty of experience now.
This is third year in then.
And
Okay.
again, he's got what, almost 30 games starting. When you think about it,
Right, right.
that's a lot of snap time.
Yeah. No, he's a legit starter, just like our quarterback,
Yeah,
KJ. It's going to be interesting because Hunter's going to be on Kobe.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
That'll
so
be.
Kobe's
And
going to probably be out of the game.
we got to find somebody
So you
who.
still have Pittman. I think Pittman. You're gonna have to put maybe they'll put a defensive back on Pittman. I still think Pittman's good enough to beat a defensive back, but
Or let's say they do this, Mark. They put Hunter on Kobe, go 1-on-1, and say we're going to put another man in the box. We're going to say, right, your best receiver against our best defensive back, and then we're going to try to stop your run. What are you going to do?
I'd run the ball. Let's see what you
Well, I
can
mean,
do.
that's what I said. Is if they put,
I'd power it right down their throat. I think we're better than them. Even if they put another guy in the box, good. Let's see it.
yeah,
Because I just think we're bigger and more athletic than them, in the box. Let's do it. And
mhm.
I think RJ Harvey, I think, number 22 there.
Miles
Miles
Montgomery, yeah,
Montgomery, and even Penny Boone. Penny
yeah.
Boone is rolling downhill on some of these guys. It's going to be, you got to remember, he's 240-pound back that
No,
we
he's
used
he's.
sparingly the last 2 games.
No, I agree. Yeah, he's ready to go. We've got a very deep running
And
back
then
room.
you've got Johnny, which is a receiver, And my point is get Johnny in space on the other side of the field when he's, okay, you're going to take Kobe out. We're going to get Johnny over on the other side. And there's a lot of things we can do here. And
You know who Colorado's Johnny is?
no,
Remember Jimmy Horn
Jimmy Horn, yeah, and he's a good player. He's a really good
from
player.
South Florida days? He kind of like does their reverses and stuff. I mean, he had 4 catches the other night, so
He's a decent player,
yeah.
they're going to score some points. We're just going to have to be able to score some points as well. And, running the ball, like that's one thing I don't think we can get down 3 touchdowns against these guys
No,
with their suspect, defensive line and things like that. Cause I think if they'll kind of really power up on that,
yeah,
and if they start to really see that they're kind of running away with it, they're going to really amp up and it could get tough.
no, I agree.
I've seen unfortunately I've seen Gus lay an egg in that stadium packed before a few times.
He's done that.
And to where I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I've seen it.
Well, you think about it before uh, the overtime loss to Colorado. The only other loss they had, Baylor, Mark, was to Utah.
Okay.
So
Utah's a pretty good team because
yeah,
I guess let's switch to some Big 12. But yeah, Utah went into Oklahoma State and just was Oklahoma State was no problem. They just took
well,
them apart.
Oklahoma State kind of made it closer at the end. I mean, it was
Yeah, but it was I think it was kind of just to help out to make it look better.
mhm.
Oklahoma State did not look good at all, of what I
But
was watching.
Utah only beat Baylor what 23-12, so it was it wasn't really a I
Well,
get the first
Utah had
game.
their second string quarterback in. Maybe, with Baylor, he had them in with them as well. Now he's getting better as he's playing more. I don't know. Like the little amount that I saw, it was Utah was in charge of that game.
Yeah,
And which kind of it was a strange Saturday in the Big 12. Like they were
I
there
agree.
when you had BYU just curb stomp K-State, curb stomped them
Yeah, and I said
31-9 or something like that.
I
And they're
need to
like,
look at
well,
that.
K-State needs to grow up a little bit. I was like, no, they got beat.
Yeah,
And that's that's trouble. We got BYU coming to us, luckily, but there are a lot
but
better teams.
because they're right after the I think there's Iowa State game.
Right. And then it's BYU.
Yeah, so we got a little stretch here of some tough football.
Because BYU, like I was telling you, they went into SMU Stadium and beat them like second
Mhm.
game of the season. And SMU pretty much beat up on TCU.
Well, like I said, is I think TCU kind of helped him with that one. Don't again, you can't have a punt blocked, you can't have a fumble six and a pick six. And that's 21 points right there. You give up that kind of mistakes, anybody's gonna lose.
Well, they did. And they
Yeah,
lost, 66-35 or whatever. I mean, that was almost as bad as that JMU versus North Carolina game,
yeah. Because
which
what that's still a wonderment to me. I can't believe Carolina gave up 70 points in their own home stadium. And again, they gave up.
Matt Brown is going to retire at the end of the year, don't you think?
Well, is he what 80? I mean, how old is
I
he?
have no idea, but I think he's done after this year.
Yeah,
When you get
he's
beat
not
by
a young
70 at
man.
home against
I
a
don't
team
know why he
that
went back. He had a cushy TV job. So right now you got to start recruiting again, and after a beating like that, you took at home against James Madison. You
the
might say,
team that
all
was
right,
the FCS team 3 years ago.
yeah, James Madison.
There's no excuse for that.
He has 70 points in your place, and they had 52 by halftime.
Right. Yeah.
But they were just so far ahead,
It was a
the Tar
bummer.
Heels couldn't catch them.
That must have been a shocking experience for the North Carolina, the old Tar Heel faithful.
Yeah,
Back to the Big 12.
Houston got soundly beat.
By Cincinnati. And that's another thing. Like, Houston, they played, if you recall, they played Oklahoma fairly close.
Yeah,
If we remember, we were thinking Oklahoma was going to blow them out,
yeah.
and they kept it interesting. So I think, okay, maybe Houston's better than we thought. No, they're not. Or
Mm.
or or Cincinnati is just that good.
No,
You
because
know,
Cincinnati lost to Pitt, and Pitt's terrible.
well, Pitt also beat West Virginia,
Yeah,
which is another thing. West Virginia's having a tough year, and now you got everybody wanting to fire the head coach there at West Virginia. And it's like
yeah. That's just these people are so fire the coach, fire the
they
coach.
wanted to fire him last year, but he won like 9 games, so they didn't. They said, well, we won't fire him. And then this year he's had a tough start, and now it's okay, fire him. And it's like,
Well, when you think
hey,
of Morgantown, West Virginia, that right there is what you call pretty much a college town. I mean, there's nothing that doesn't scream college town like Morgantown, West Virginia. But I
right.
mean, again, Cincinnati virtually gave Houston almost like you would see like a child's birthday party, like a parting gift. That was because they had them shut out. I mean, they literally whipped them up and down the field the entire game.
Because they both run and throw, right?
Uh-huh.
They can do both. So it's going to be interesting because we got Cincinnati before we go out
And
to Iowa
that's
State.
what I'm worried about over Florida. I'm worried about that one. the
Yeah,
40 game.
I mean, these
Yeah.
are weeks from now, but the Colorado game is intriguing because it's going to be quite an atmosphere of you know primetime game 3:30, and
Uh-huh.
with Colorado that won a pretty interesting game last week to the point to where you got the big noon Fox show on campus, which is probably going to have a lot of people there showing that. I know
Yeah.
that UCF always likes to kind of show itself in a very positive light and kind of and the fans really show. I mean, that's one thing that this town does. It seems like, right, when there's going to be kind of a big kind of production before the game, they show up for it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, even when you had the game, was it back in 2019 when Florida played Miami? They did it pretty well.
Okay.
They knew how to. I mean, it
Were
was
you
a
talking about the game at the Citrus Bowl there, whatever they call it
and
now?
they. I mean, but they
Stadium.
they had a college game day at Disney World.
The game
You had several
zero.
great Gators and Hurricanes out there.
Zero. Yeah. All
I
right.
mean, they did it real well. So
That wasn't Fox though. I'm talking Fox. I
no,
could I could care less what game day does. So game day is not going to be here. Fox is. I mean, you can have like Urban Meyer, and those other
yeah.
guys will be. This is what Fox is. So I'm just hoping for good weather. I think if we get good weather, it should be a really good show out
Hmm.
fans. But we have to wait and see. We do have. I don't know what the name of the hurricane's called yet.
Well, it's still nine. Still number
So
9.
tomorrow probably called something tomorrow.
Yeah, it has no name yet
Just
as
tomorrow,
of now.
Tuesday.
So, but yeah, we'll find out more tomorrow, especially tomorrow morning. If it's Tuesday morning, it's gonna hit by Thursday morning, because again, it formed right there in the Gulf of Mexico. So
Right there at the Yucatan. You're right.
yeah,
Is now it's drifting up. But I don't know. I mean, I guess we're about to 40. How many minutes we on this? About 45, close to 45 minutes on this.
yeah,
Let's talk about I guess some of the things that I saw on Saturday of just a lot of bad football teams that are ranked. Like to me, forgive me for saying this, but I don't think Michigan's a very good team. And I just think USC's worse.
yeah.
It's an awful team.
Well, I think your teams like your Southern Cals, your UCLA's are going to realize that a lot of these kids from out west are going to be like, why do I want to go play here now? I
Right.
want to. I mean, pretty much my whole schedule is going to be on the road, and I'm playing in stadiums where I don't know anybody.
I got something interesting as well, which because we kind of hit it on this yesterday. Do you think 6, 7 years from now that everybody goes, this didn't work. But I'm
Yeah,
I'm going back to the Pac-12. I don't want to be in this anymore. I'll tell you what, and you'll start seeing them go, screw the money. What we'll do is we'll play Big Ten teams if you want,
yeah,
but I'm staying here. I'm staying in the Pac-12. Those teams are going to, if you have that's what the final shakeup will be. And it's like, I know money is money, but to me at this point, it's just odd watching some of these games and
yes.
seeing like
Everybody go back to your
Michigan.
conferences. Yeah, this experiment didn't work.
We'll
So head
see.
on back.
Right. We'll see how it goes. But you know, that was the one thing we were talking about because also it appears to me I saw a little story about you had a few AAC teams snip at the Pac-12.
Yeah,
Memphis, Tulane, and South Florida said no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks.
yeah,
And they said we're staying. And I have a feeling what happened, and because people are, oh, they're probably going to get more money. No, they're not getting any more money from the AAC.
yeah.
What happens? You had somebody in the athletic office going, this is what it's going to cost to do this.
Oh no, I agree.
And they're going, we don't have that, especially as USF is building a stadium supposedly. That's going to cost a lot of money to keep that stadium, paid.
Yeah,
You can't sit there and gallipander across and play in San Diego State and every other year
I agree.
or whatever West Coast team you're going to have to go play. That just gets expensive.
Well,
And
also you're looking
all
at
your sports.
brand, and again, I mean, not even talking about teams like SMU and South Florida, but you're going to look at teams like Southern Cal and UCLA. Their branding is going to be so diminished in the next 5 years. I mean, look at Nebraska. That's what they're going to turn into. They're going to have really a fan base that's going to look at them as an also ran because they're playing in the middle of the country, and the people who they're trying to cater to are the people on the West Coast. Really don't get a chance to see them that often unless they go and watch them at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but I think that's just what happened is that you had the athletic departments of those AAC schools going, wait a minute, we're not going to get any more money joining the Pac-12, or if we do, it's not going to be enough to really make this work.
And why would you want to do that? Yeah.
Like I think Colorado State will be fine for it. I think Boise State, they're out there.
Yeah.
San Diego State, that's fine. What were the other schools that Utah State, I think, is going to get asked.
Yeah.
Now they're saying Gonzaga might, instead of joining Big 12, will join the Pac-12. It's like, that's fine. So we missed out on Gonzaga. Big deal.
They have a football team?
No, it'll just be basketball only.
Well,
That was the nice thing about us is that we were just going to have them for basketball only. And they're a good team.
They'd be better off with us in basketball.
You would think, but I think
with the monster basketball conferences, they'd be better with us.
Right. Well, I think the Pac. I wonder if the Pac-12 is promising these guys something money wise.
Yeah,
because to me, it's like,
I guess
I don't know why you're doing it.
Yeah, why would you go to a place that's definitely doesn't have the same kind of media pull that the Big 12 does as well,
And does Stanford and Cal say we'll go back too, because maybe they can attract more money for the conference if they do at that point. I don't think it'll be much more because I don't think they're happy. I mean, you watched that FSU game, against Cal. And boy,
what an awful game.
Talk about pulling teeth, man. That thing was just. I think FSU scored one touchdown?
Yeah.
Touchdown?
Well, I mean, I know they didn't have, but it seemed like they had 20 sacks too. It seemed like every time Cal went back to pass, the kid got sacked.
Right. And it was a 14-9 final, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, let's face it, the defensive line of Florida State really isn't that good. It's like, did you guys bring a high school junior varsity offensive line with you?
I think going across country to play these games is going to start with these kids. Yeah. Like we got to go to Arizona State, which is another game when I'm pulling us back into the Big 12, which Arizona State is a lot better team than I think when we kind of did our first show of the season, kind of talking about what wins and losses in the conference. Everybody was going, Arizona State, yeah, it's out west, but we'll beat them because they stink. I don't think that's the case anymore.
No.
I think Arizona State's a lot better. Or they're a lot farther ahead than we thought.
Yeah. If your team's tired too, if you've had a lot of tough games, and especially if you've won, let's say you've won them. These are just kids.
Right.
Again, they don't keep that sharpness of like a professional does. And that's where you look at, it's like, that's the one you could drop. I just don't want them to say win the Florida game and then lose the Cincinnati game.
No, it's true. Yeah, I mean,
like
I think we talked about that. I think we would prefer to win a conference game over the Florida game. The Florida game doesn't really matter. I mean, you're going to get Florida fans spouting at you, and it is embarrassing. It wouldn't just be Florida fans; it'd be all kind of in-state school fans would be laughing.
Yeah.
Because if we are a good team, we should win that game, even in Gainesville, because the swamp is not the swamp anymore.
Yeah, it's not the swamp it once was.
And you got to be able to win those kind of games when they're not what they were.
Well, these Gators are also not big and nasty. They're more like baby Gators now.
Well, I'm just saying it's you've got the talk of you're firing your coach, things like that. It's in disarray almost. You can't go up there and lay an egg. You got to go up there and you got to win the game. As well as what I saw on Saturday, I don't see that being a problem as long as we run the ball. As long as we don't get any kind of crazy bunch of injuries this weekend, it should be a really simple game against Florida as well. And then we, reset for Cincinnati, which could be a tougher game than what we first imagined.
Yeah.
Which is too bad. I like beating Cincinnati.
I do too.
they're a true rival of ours now, you know,
Hmm.
and they hate us and we hate them, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, we beat them 3 times in a row. They beat us 3 times in a row. Now we got to finish off 3 times in a row here. Maybe
Hmm.
build on that because it appears to me, Satterfield's getting that team to play correct. I mean, Pace there is a hell of a player, and I don't know how you get rid of
Oh, Pace and Montgomery are going to want to shine against them.
right, and I think they will. You know,
Yeah,
and those guys
especially,
are good players.
yeah, they're
But
really going to want to play hard
yeah,
in the games.
I agree completely. Um, hmm. Anything else you want to mention about? I guess the Saturday game. You got a prediction score?
Prediction. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be as high as last week was. I don't think. Um, I think the field is still going to be a little more wet than it's going to be a slower track.
Okay.
I think we still beat them, but I think it's probably 27-17.
I have a feeling it's going to be completely opposite. I'm thinking 45, 30, 45, 41.
Okay, so shootout.
Oh yeah. I think it'll be a shootout in the sense that we're going to run the ball. We're just going to score a lot. It's going to be a lot of, I have a feel again, we'll have 350, 400 yards rushing.
Yeah,
And I know RJ Harvey, that's the one critique he had with the TCU game is that he said, I ran it 29 times. It's the most I've ever run the ball. He goes, and I didn't have 200 yards.
mm,
He had 180, which,
yeah,
but I think to him, it's like he wants to show that, yeah, because there was a list of all the running backs that are really doing, and, that everybody's got pretty much his or worse statistics than he has, other than that Genty kid from Boise. He's got like 800 yards already.
yeah. That's something.
I'm
But
like,
again, who's Boise playing? But he still did something against, I think, uh, Oregon.
Oregon has no defense. I don't
Oh,
care. They
that
have no
okay.
defense. They're awful. I mean, Oregon's going to lose a couple games just because they have no defense.
Yeah, okay. Because it was,
But yeah, Genty is 800 yards. I swear the guy's probably ran 90 times though.
yeah.
Maybe 100 times already in 3 games.
Because he played against us, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and so he's pretty much the offense. They just feed him the ball. But he's same size, same weight as RJ,
yeah.
which is interesting.
Hmm.
And it'll be interesting to see what happens as that all kind of develops. I'm thinking, yeah, 45, 41. I think we're gonna really be able to kind of run the ball on them. I think Gus needs to be a little bit more disciplined, or he's been disciplined, but he needs to stay disciplined and keep running the ball. If it's working,
Yeah.
keep doing it. Even if we get down by, 10,
They scored.
14 points, because I don't know how this defense is going to react with,
Yeah.
again, Nebraska just kept him in the box and didn't let him kind of scramble around. And we're going to have to be able to have that kind of
Oh, I guarantee we can see how he can be beaten. I said, just you need to study that Nebraska game.
right, but we're going to have to keep him in the box and basically make sure that he's looking more inside the tackle box and not looking downfield.
Hmm.
Because that was one thing that was Nebraska was able to do to him as well, is basically he's always looking what's around me rather
Yeah.
than what's downfield.
Also, I think our defensive line's better than Nebraska's anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, Nebraska lost what, Friday night was it, or Thursday night to
Yeah.
Illinois, and it was in Nebraska.
Hmm.
And so Illinois got a team this year. Our dad's
Well, because
our dad's alma mater.
they still got was Ohio State in 3 weeks. We'll see.
Yeah, I think and is it at Nebraska or in Ohio State?
It's in Columbus. Well,
Uh,
there's a report
there's
card.
a good chance it could be a beatdown.
Yeah, there's your report card. So they
Okay,
can go.
get the report card come Columbus.
Yeah.
That's funny, but I don't know. Anything you got to say about this other than what we covered? I mean,
No, I think the week off is going to really do well for us. I think we'll fly around on defense a little better. I do think we'll improve on some of those, especially those irritating slant passes.
right.
Seem to just kill us in the TCU game. I think we'll get a little more pressure on. Sanders. And again, I still think we beat them by double digits.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we watched the game on Saturday. The team did,
Yeah.
and I'm sure they've been now, prepping for it to where we got a game on Saturday,
Hmm.
and it should be interesting with the big noon Fox show.
Yeah.
That should be a good time.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm all right. So
we'll wrap
we
this up.
we an hour in.
I think so. I started the timer a little late, and I'm at 52 minutes in the timer.
Yeah.
Oh, we were about 10 minutes behind, but if not, so be it.
No worries.
Close
Like I
enough.
said, is that's all I got to say about this week. And again, I think again we can beat Colorado because they virtually have no running game to speak of other than Sanders on his scrambles.
Yeah, we just got to keep him contained
Hmm.
and score when we get opportunities. Don't turn the ball over. Don't cause penalties, and that'll do it for us.
Stay disciplined and close those passing lanes down.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right,
All right. For Knightspeed, I am Matt Johnson saying goodbye
and we'll talk to everybody, I guess, on Sunday night after the big Colorado game.
after the game.
This is Mark Johnson. Go Knights.
Go charge on.
See you Sunday.